So here we go. Welcome back to the Kings of Anglia Fan Social. This week, I'm joined by good old Mark Beck, the Sweetgrass Prince, Harvey Davies, and good old Liam from Crewe as we discuss all things town. I'm your host as ever, Ross. Hope everyone has had a good week. The season is now up and running. Town, of course, starting with a 1-1 draw against Bolton at Portland Road. But what a crowd it was. 26 plus thousands packed in Portland Road. Great atmosphere, as always. Let's get right into the episode then. Let's bring in good old Mark Beck, who's, if you're watching on video, he is donning a very, very nice shirt indeed. Mark, thanks for joining me, my friend, and let the viewers know, listeners know, what you're wearing.
I've got, I don't actually know what year it is. I can't remember what year it is, but it's the green and maroon coloured away kit. Mid-90s. I don't know. If Segs was here, Segs would know what players wore it, who made it, what material it's made of. But I don't know. I just like the kit. But yeah, as we've got Forest Green, I thought a little Forest Green number set us up nicely. Yeah, good to be back on the Fan Social, and good that football is back at Portland Road, and we're going to be back on the road this week as well.
Indeed, mate. And I liked, if you haven't watched Game Day, ladies and gentlemen, good old Mark Beck and good old Mike, the Turbo Sailor. I like what you did with you hit my shoulders. Good old Ross. That's my new little thing I do on Game Day.
You like a shoulder slap, don't you?
I do. I don't know.
Kinky devil.
Yeah, I know. Hello. Another man who is... No, I'm sure he is. He could be kinky as well. But it's good old Sweetgrass Prince Harvey Davies. He was back at Portland Road on the weekend, so he was buzzing, boy. He did a big trip, a 10-hour round trip. Salute you, Harvey, and salute the guy who also gave you a lift, and give him a shout out as well, because I know he's a town fan because he went to bloody Ipswich. But you only recently found out he lives around the corner from you or whatever. But Harvey, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me back on, Ross. Yeah, as you said, big trip on Saturday, but even though we didn't win it, it was worth the travel. As you said, big shout out to Adam who drove us there and back. Very, very long way. Left 7:15 in the morning, got back about 11:15 at night, which actually isn't too bad, but still a long way. So yeah, big shout out to Adam. He took one for the team there, and I've already reassured him that next time we travel down, I'll be driving. So yeah, give him a follow on Twitter. It's AdamDay_Phoenix is his Twitter username. So give him a follow. He's a big town fan and a good guy. But yeah, it was brilliant to be back. Really, really good. 2019, the last time I was back there to witness a 1-1 draw again, funnily enough, with Stoke. I think it was Will Keane who scored a last-minute header, possibly Will Keane. And we'll come on to it, but it was like night and day compared to what it was like when I last visited, and it was amazing. And I'm so used to going to away days, and you still see loads of blue shirts there, but this was just like, it was uncanny. Like driving through the town, it was it just made me want to move to Ipswich that little bit more. But it was a really good day.
Definitely, man. And I know Adam is also a fellow photographer. So hello, Adam. Hope you're doing good.
Yeah, he is.
Hope he's listening. If he is listening, hello, Adam.
He
Hope
will
you're doing
be.
well. He is top man. And the foreign man that is joining us this week is good old Liam from Crewe, the man who drives me about a bit. And thanks once again, Liam, for giving me a lift to Felixstowe on Monday, because I left my house keys and headphones and other bits and bobs actually at the stadium where the women's teams play. But anyway, Liam, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm all right. Back from a 2-week holiday just in time for the new season. And then back into the old routine of driving you about. So can't complain, really.
Yeah, pretty much.
You can complain. You've got to drive me about.
Yeah, do. But, I'm not, I'm a nice passenger, I think. I don't moan, really. I just, go with the flow. I always give you a nice little chinwag. I'm not a boring one who's just all on their phone. I always have little good chats and debates and all that sort of stuff. Play a bit of tunes. But yeah, we've got a lot of travelling this season. I'm sure I'll be joining you on different trips, and look forward to it. And we're going to have a little feature on the podcast this week. The worst and our favourite away days ever for town, as we've got our first away day this weekend against Forest Green. But before we get into that, let's quickly round up the weekend's result. I know we've covered it on the main pod, and you can see articles, you can see many other debates and insight on those games, on that game. But it's a nice opportunity for Mark, Harvey, and Liam just to give their say on it as well. Mark, let's talk about the day itself and the result. Of course, a lot of changes at Portland Road in terms of the big screen and different things, the PA and all that. What did you think of the upgrades and the result as a whole?
It's kind of getting Portland Road into the 21st century at long last. And I think maybe, I don't know, until Mark Ashton came in, we kind of just didn't really think about the stadium. But especially with someone like Harvey, it is night and day. Like what the upgrades, and even just the small things, just little facelifts and things like that, it does make a real difference and does show we're going in the right direction, at least just trying to represent ourselves as an up and coming club and want to be progressive rather than letting things go to rack and ruin. I know the scoreboard has sort of divided opinion a little bit, but as Heathy, it was Heathy, wasn't it, who did the video, showed that the club's listening, and that's an important thing as well. They're going to make changes and make it suitable for us. So yeah, long may that continue. The result, probably as I said on game day, fairly happy with it. If you'd given me that at 3:00, probably should have won the game in the end, but we're up and away, point on the board against a very good team who I expect to be up there this season. So, as long as we follow it up with some wins in the next few games, then I can't really complain, to be honest. But yeah, it's good to be back at Portland Road, seeing the guys from the KOA army who travel the length and breadth of the country to watch town, whether that's home or away, and just seeing everyone back at Portland Road, people you only really see at football. And yeah, shout out to Blue Action as well. Really brilliant display as well. I think we're blessed to have them at the club, and yeah, long may that continue, and hopefully some more displays as the wins keep racking up as well.
Yeah, I think I'm going to make this title basically the banner name. It's the future's bright.
The future's blue and white.
Yeah, I like that. That's really good. Good touch from Blue Action. Always a big shout out to them guys. Harvey, you said it's been a very long time since you've been at Portland Road. A lot has changed, even just even before this summer. Last season they painted different things. Now you got the images of different iconic moments of the North Stand. Even on the Cobbold Stand, there's different other murals and stuff, which is just great to see. What do you think of the Portland Road upgrades and the result as a whole?
Yeah, I mean the upgrades. It felt like a new stadium, to be honest with you, from when I last went. Because, as I said, when I went a few years ago, it was the first time in many years that I'd been to Portland Road, and I stayed in the Penta Hotel. And you walk over the Sir Bobby Bridge, don't you, towards the stadium? And I remember looking at it, being, you get that feeling, don't you, when it's your home stadium, that kind of thing. But it felt run down. It felt like it just badly needed a facelift. I remember looking at the like near the turnstiles and that kind of thing, where the paint was like peeling off and it looked awful. And I was embarrassed. I really was, because, as Mark says, the stadium just hasn't been updated in so long. And he makes a really good point, actually, Mark, because as a fellow fan, I know it's easy for me to say, because I don't I don't go to home games often at all, but you don't really think of a stadium. You're only really focused on the result. But I think since the ownership has come in, those little kind of improvements, along the stadium have been brilliant. And I love the, like the flying fin and like Pablo Cunyago and that kind of thing. I thought it was brilliant. The club shop was absolutely rammed, which is amazing to see, because when I last went in there, it wasn't at all. Probably could have had about 3 staff members in there and they would have coped. But this time there was like 7 or 8 on the till. So the club's thriving, and it's really, really impressive to see. Onto the game itself, it was a cagey, as McKenna said, a cagey opening, 20-25 minutes. I thought Bolton played well in that time without really threatening Christian Walton's goal too much. But they pressed us really, really well. I've never seen Christian Walton punt so many long kicks forward. That's just not what we do, is it? But he wasn't given a choice, because, whether it was Affaline or Dean Charles, whoever it was, they were pressing our centre back so well that we had no choice but to pump it long. And when you've got a centre back like Ricardo Santos, he really, really impressed me. I thought he was outstanding on that day. He's gonna head balls all day long. It's not going to bother him, is it? So once we got into our groove, I thought we played well. From where I was sitting, granted I didn't have the best view, but from where I was sat, it looked like a clear penalty. I had no complaints. The people around me had no complaints either. It looked like it was just a bit of a clumsy challenge, but I think we needed that, to be honest with you. I thought that really kind of gave us a burst of energy to really kick on, and half time probably came at the wrong time for us, but at least we at least we pushed on in the second half as well. Obviously, Evan scored from an actual corner, which I'm convinced now we scored from a corner, so we're just going to win everything. And yeah, I thought we deserved to win it. I mean, that Morsey chance, I was on the way home, and it felt like a defeat because I banked on Morsey. I thought, when you saw Burns run away and the crowd all stand up, all on their feet, I thought it was written in the stars for Morsey to score. But looking back, weaker left foot. He probably maybe should have taken a touch more potentially, but all in all, as Mark said, I would have taken that. I predicted 1-0. I wasn't too far off. I would have taken a draw against a good team. Some individual performances. I thought Ganassi marshalled Affeline really well. I thought Ladapo led the line well. I was impressed with him. He didn't get the goal, but those goals will come. I thought Burns looked really, really tired. 65, 70 minutes. I thought he looked goosed, to be honest with you. Really tired, but hopefully that's just a thing with him being away with Wales. So lots of positives to take. Really, really, really pleased with the way we're playing, and yeah, it was amazing to be back. I didn't want to leave, but yeah, I'll definitely be back this season for sure.
Look forward to it, my friend. Look forward to it. And now, Liam, over to you in terms of, some people who don't know, listeners, of course, you got a season ticket a few years back, and a lot has changed. We've got new ownerships. We're in League One. But what's your thoughts on the upgrades? And also just quickly mention your thoughts on the game as well.
Well, it's like everyone has said, really. It's make it look a lot more of a club going places rather than a club in decline, which is what it was beforehand. I have to say, and I don't know if Mark is of the same opinion, because I think you're North Stand lower as well, aren't you, Mark?
Yeah.
The big screen, the person that I sit with, Lee, couldn't see basically the timer on there. So we entered the last 10 minutes and he went, "Is that 89?" And I said, "No, I think it's about 80." But it was a bit of a struggle to see it. Couldn't really see the team lineups properly. Although I thought it was a good touch that they kind of had the team lineups and then they put like yellow cards and goals next to the names of players picking those things up. But I mean, we couldn't see them properly. So it was a little bit weird. And I don't know if the tannoy system was as big an improvement as we could hear a bit better, but still think it was a bit muffled, I would say, compared to the rest of the ground. Because, I mean, last season, you may as well just forget about trying to listen to anything in the North Lower, because that never worked down there. But overall, yeah, and I mean, cashless kiosks now, even though they were all rammed at half time, it does make things go a lot quicker, hopefully, and go through, although I wasn't actually looking to get anything at half time on Saturday. And just the game, really. I think it's just frustration. I think that it was game of two halves, using a cliche. Didn't really we weren't allowed to play. I think that's what everyone said, and we weren't. And we struggled a little bit to start with. As Harvey said, it was a penalty. Soft, but it was a penalty. I mean, he stuck his leg out, the guy goes over, and the referee decides to give it. And I think it's one of those that if you're on the receiving end, you're complaining about how soft it is. But if you're the one gaining it, then you're absolutely convinced. And if it had been on the other foot and it had been Town player going down, we would have all been screaming blue murder that we weren't given a Stonewall penalty. So, yeah, it was a penalty. Disappointing, though, to go behind, especially with Bolton's record. of last season, going ahead and never relinquishing it, at least getting something out of the game. But overall, second half was much better. I'm still can't work out how Morsey hasn't scored, and the fact that I stood there for about 5 seconds after it happened, just going like that, kind of just just shows the disbelief, I think, of a lot of us, of how that didn't nestle in the net. But like everyone said, I would have taken a point beforehand, because I think Bolton, although they didn't probably play as well as they probably thought they might do, and got a good result for them in the end, I think they might be up and around there. So it's a decent point. We haven't lost. We've got some chance now to build on that. But yeah, just frustration that we didn't get the winner when we were on top. And I don't want to be negative, because it's only first game of the season, but my only concern is that, and it was the same last season, when Town go behind in matches, it's very rare for Town to create enough chances and take them to turn it over completely. So they came back a few times last season to draw games, but I can't remember many games where they came from behind to actually win a game and take all 3 points. And that's my only concern at the moment, that's still there. And in these tight games against the better sides in this division, it's just a little bit of a worry in the back of my mind, that if we get an opportunity, are we going to take it to maybe eke out a narrow victory? So, but as I say, there were more positives than negatives at the end of the day. So bring on Forest Green on Saturday.
Indeed, we shall. Well, we'll get into Forest Green later on in the podcast, of course. But the end of the Celina saga is now here. He's joined Turkish side. Was it?
Go on, pronounce it. Go on, Ross.
I did have it up, and I thought, no, I could just do the easy route. He's joined a Turkish team on loan. I think it's Kasimampasa. No, that's completely. The club in Istanbul. It's like they've got so many clubs in Istanbul, isn't there? It's like 7 teams or something. You know, it's just I think you've got Fenerbahce, Galatasaray, Besiktas. I've said that wrong as well. There's a lot of teams in Istanbul. Yeah, it's crazy. But Celina's joined the Turkish.
Please pronounce that again.
No. Oh wait, I'm not going to do it. Not for your amusement and for the listeners' amusement. I'm just going to move on straight away and bring my favourite feature on every podcast we do, and it is the one word to describe this. So Celina saga is over. Mark, one word to describe it, and of course expand on that word. He's not returning to Town this season in League One. What's your thoughts?
It's tough to describe it in one word, but I'm probably going to say balance. I think the way we could have gone about things, I think if we really wanted him, we could have easily have stumped up the money and bought him at the start of the window. I think I wouldn't be surprised if that option was there for us to do, or even spoken about. But I think the way we've gone about our transfer business since January has been really important to how this side has been set up. You look in January, we easily could have paid the money to get Bon in as well, but we didn't. We stuck with Bolton just because what we needed. And I think if we'd have gone into the summer and paid up for Celina, not discrediting him in any way, he's a fantastic player, probably far too good for League One on his day. But if we'd bought Celina, would we have been able to keep more Burns and Wolfenden? We tied them both down to long contracts. Would we have been able to get Marcus Harness? You could argue they're kind of similar style players. Would we have been able to get Leif Davis, who we hope is going to be a significant upgrade on a real deficiency we had on that left side? So I think it's Billy Bremner said this for Leeds. It's side over self. We could easily have gone and got that luxury player who probably would win games on his own if he's in the right frame of mind and the right form, but we've guaranteed ourselves a better, more complete squad by perhaps not bending to the wishes of whether it's Celina or his agent or Celina's dad, whoever keeps posting on Twitter. And yeah, I'm glad that's over now anyway. But yeah, no, I think it would have been nice, but we're in a very good position without him. So we move on and hopefully we bring another striker in. That's all I hope.
Indeed. Yeah, still got just under a month for the transfer window to go, and sexy business hopefully will be firing up again soon. Harvey, one word to describe the Celina saga. It's now over. What word are you going to use? And of course, expand.
I think relieved is the first one that came to my head, to be honest with you. Relieved that it's finally over. Is he coming? Is he not coming? I mean, there's no doubt on his day, as Mark has said already, he's far too good for League One. I mean, we saw that with the, you think back to the goal at Portman Road against Crewe. I think, was it Crewe?
Yeah.
Some of the defence splitting passes. I remember one with the outside of his foot that was just unbelievable as well. He's a brilliant player, and I saw McKenna's interview today where he said the club tried really hard to get him back. Which I thought was interesting. I also thought it was interesting the fact he said at the end of it, you never know what the future holds. I know that he's signed with a view to a permanent deal, hasn't he, at this Turkish club that I'm also not going to pronounce. But I think he's out of contract, isn't he, at Dijon next summer? So if we go up to the Championship, I think we will re-sign him. That's my gut feeling. I think he'll return. I'm not sure. I don't really buy this. He's not great in League One, but he'll be brilliant in the Championship kind of argument. I'm not quite sure that's the case. I think he'd be great in both leagues, really. But yeah, I'm relieved it's over. Wish him well. I mean, he's going to crowds of, 2,400, which is going to be very underwhelming. I know he's going to have some great away days there, but it's going to be underwhelming to play in front of those crowds each week. And we can sit here and debate whether Celina wanted it, whether Ashton wouldn't pay, whatever. We're all going to have different opinions. The fact of the matter is, we're never going to know. The only people that truly know are Celina and Ashton and McKenna, whoever that may be. So it's time we moved on. Do we need another in that position? After watching Tyrese John Jules on Saturday, I don't think we do. I mean, he's one of the most impressive debuts I've seen. I thought he was absolutely outstanding. He's just turned 21. I thought he was playing like a 27, 28-year-old in their prime. And I know it's one game, and I know it's a small sample size, but he really, really impressed me. He really did, and I think he's perfect for that kind of left attacking midfield role. But we'll see what happens. McKenna hasn't ruled bringing in another player for that position. Obviously, we're interested in Hurst as well, so we'll have to see what happens between now and the end of August. But ultimately, I'm glad it's over.
Indeed. So we've had balance relieved. Liam from Crewe, what are you going for? The one word describe Celina saga ending, and expand as always.
Boring. Basically.
Fair enough.
It's just boring. I'm the same opinion as Mark, that if we really wanted him, we would have thrown everything to try and get him in. Clearly, I think Ipswich wanted their cake and eat it basically at the same time. I think they wanted to keep him as an option to potentially bring in, but he wasn't a priority. And I think Celina, obviously, other options on the table, and we could have got it done straight away. For me, we don't need him in League One. There is a little bit of a mitigating factor for last season, that he obviously came in very late and he had the heart issues after COVID, which meant no pre-season. So it did take him a little bit of a while to get up to speed. But I mean, some of the things he did was outstanding, but it's not on a consistent basis. And for me, I just didn't think it was worth all the hassle to go through all that to get him. If Town really wanted him, then we would have just gone out and got him. If he comes back in the Championship, fine. I've got no issues with that. He's still a very, very good player, but with the squad we've got right now, he isn't a priority. The priority, as Mark said, is another striker, and that's exactly what we need. Because I think Ladapo will do all right. I think he'll do fine. He's proven goal scorer at League One. I think John Jules was really exceptional when he came on. Just if he can get that touch at the end from some of those balls that were pinged into him, then he will be unstoppable. And obviously we've got Jackson as that extra pace option to come off the bench. But I think, and I said this, I've said this a few times, I don't think the main man is in the door yet. And I think there will be a big signing in terms of a striker that is going to hopefully score the number of goals that we would want from a main striker for a promotion pushing team. So whether that's Hurst, whether that's Yates, there's a few names out there, but that's where we need. Celina, again, would have been like last season. It's a luxury, but we've got so many options in those forward areas that we don't really need another number 10. It's all about now getting in a number 9 who's going to score lots of goals.
Yeah, I hope so too. And Luco, baby, I love a Sonny Luco. Honestly, every time I watch him play, I'm liking him more and more. Last year, I was very much, pure quality. Yeah, definitely. Okay then, boys. Well, I've had a lot of chat. I think it's time for a bit more silly stuff. It's time for the standard strike on the Fans Social. 4 questions plus a tiebreaker if needed. We have a very fine competitor in Mark Beck who knows his stuff with the strike, but also Sweet Welsh Prince Harvey Davies he's done all right as well in the past. And Liam,
don't give him kit numbers, please.
He's got one. He's got one kit
bugger.
number, but the player is an interesting player. But yes, of course, as standards, it's linked to birthdays and other bits and bobs. So if you want to go that far and do your research, then go ahead every week. But there we go. Of course, play at home, ladies and gentlemen. Play at home. So are we all ready?
Aye, Captain.
Okay, let's do it then. Question 1 is on good old John Walk. Of course, today, as of this recording, Thursday night, his 65th birthday. This will be going on Friday. So hello, Friday. Future people. Hope you've enjoyed the podcast so far. Now, he played his final town game against which team in 1996? Was it Tranmere, QPR, or Fulham? A little fun fact. We lost this game 3-0 at their place. He was making his 678th appearance for town. Of course, that was his final appearance. All right, Liam's gone for Tranmere. Okay, then. QPR. Mark Beck's gone for.
I've also gone QPR. You can see that.
Okay, then. Now, this is a shock. It's Tranmere. Liam from Crewe has taken the lead. Liam, what's your thinking behind that? Did you know that already, or was it just?
No, I'm a Northerner.
Okay,
I went for the Northern option.
Northern option. But yeah, we lost that game 3-0. Not a good day at the office.
I just know we're terrible at Loftus Road, so I just thought.
Yeah, that's the route I was going down.
We're up there in the second tier around that period before they declined. So I knew they were up there.
Yeah, 3-0 defeat at Tranmere back in 1996. Okay, then. Question 2, and it's a shirt number question mark, I'm sorry to say. So, Harvey, get ready. Opportunity to get a point back. Now, this man celebrated his birthday on Monday, and it is Stephen Hunt. So, from John Watt to Stephen Hunt. Now, what was his shirt number during his time at town? Was it 12, 18, or 24? And Harvey, I think, wrote it down even before the options came up. So he knows it. But now, I think this is before your time, Liam, before you became a supporter. So this is going to be a shot in the dark. This is a chance, though, for Mark.
It's so much a shot in the dark that I didn't even realise you were giving me options, and I put 14 down. So it wasn't even an option. So
okay.
I've gone 18. I've gone 18.
12.
Yeah, it's 12.
It is 12. So it's 1-1-1. Going into the third question. This is good. Now, third question is on Forest Green. Of course, we travel there this weekend. Now, Forest Green is based in which town in Gloucestershire? Is it Kingswood, Nailsworth, or Stroud?
No, this.
It's good job. It's a good job of Google mapping how to get there
Yeah,
today.
same Mark. I've been
Yeah,
doing that as I'm driving.
There we go. I
Damn
thought
it.
that was maybe too easy, mate. That was a too easy question. Yeah, I thought it was a nice little fun fact.
You see, he doesn't think about these things when he doesn't drive. You see,
No,
so
yeah.
he's
No.
like,
Yeah. Oh, dig it into me more and more that I can't drive. I know. The amount of people who came up to me on Saturday saying, "Oh, have you passed yet?" or "How are you getting on?" You all know you all know the answer. Still haven't got
The
it.
pressure's on, Ross. The pressure's on for that pay rise.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Plus, going back to the very beginning when I said driving you around, I am expecting a return this season on some lists.
Yeah.
With your pay rise, get yourself a nice like 4x4 Bentley or something, Ross, and then you can ferry Liam around everywhere.
Yeah. I definitely need a big car to basically give a lot of people lifts. I owe a lot of people lifts. It's definitely in triple, probably quadruple figures now. Definitely Liam is probably a lot. Anyway, Forest Green. Which town in Gloucestershire are they based?
It's Nailsworth.
Oh yes, that was a complete and utter guess. I've also got Nailsworth.
I like it. So it is Desmond. Desmond is 2-2-2. Going into the final question. Oh, here we go. We'll still use a tiebreaker as we always do, but I'll be interested if the next question. Of course, the next question is on Connor Wickham. He, of course, had just joined Forest Green yesterday and possibly could play against Town on the weekend. Most likely won't start. But now, against which team did Connor Wickham score his first Town League goal against? Was it Coventry, Scunthorpe, or Doncaster? Of course, he scored his first 2 goals for Town in the League Cup against Shrewsbury in that 3-3 draw in the League Cup. We won on penalties in the end. Shane Supple, that was his last ever game for the club.
I thought you were going to say scored his hat-trick against, which definitely was Doncaster.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's a future strike question. So everyone forget about that, just for future ones.
I've put Cov.
Yeah, I've also put Cov.
I put Cov.
You're all wrong. It's actually Scunthorpe. It's actually Scunthorpe.
Oh, they're irrelevant.
Yeah. There's only a one. That was
anymore.
No, they're not. No, they're not. That was a 1-0 win at Portman Road. Connor Wickham scoring. So we are going to need a tiebreaker. And now I have a feeling you guys may have done some research on this, but you may just remember if you can remember it. Now, what is the capacity of the new Lawn Stadium?
Oh no!
Standard, always a standard. Always got to go to that. It's always at risk for me, though. Could you do your research beforehand just to check if you know that could be a strike one? But what is the capacity?
6,120.
Right, 6,120. All right, then.
I've gone a little bit higher. I've gone 6,825.
Okay.
5,987.
Ooh.
I think Harvey's got it because I think it might be further.
Just gonna double check. I've got
I'm
it
looking
written
forward
down.
to the maths. I'm looking forward to the maths to work it out.
Now, the correct answer is 5,147. So,
wow, really?
No. So, Mark is
They're a
the closest.
piddly little club, aren't they?
Yeah, they're very. Yeah, if you think about it, they're based in a like they're not even based in.
It's like Stowmarket.
Yeah. Although, fellow Stowmarket listeners,
Stowmartians.
Stowmartians, yeah, I know Bono, good old Bono's. He lives in Stowmarket. Big shout out to him. But there we go, Mark. You've won. You're drinking a Corona, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, a speech as always for winning the strike this week.
Just another day at the office.
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep doing that now. I'm gonna be the Dark Destroyer of the strike world.
Yes, man.
Good old
definitely.
Chase. Tea time classic.
Yes, definitely. And yeah, we got to the tiebreaker without needing someone to gamble. We just got to the tiebreaker because you all got it wrong.
And that's where I see myself winning. That I got to the tiebreaker being in contention. So
You
I've
took,
won.
you took the lead, Liam, mate. You took the lead. You took the early lead, and you kept yourself in there. It's fine, mate. You did well. You did well. So there we go. Hope everyone enjoyed that at home. Hope you let us know how you got on, as always. Now, let's talk about League One as a whole. So the opening day of the season, we saw some interesting score lines. My Cambridge dark horse thing has come right because they won the opening day against MK Dons. Happy days. Some interesting results all around. Of course, Forest Green, we'll get into that soon, but they won their opening day of the season as well. Mark, we were going to do a video actually last week on your basic League One 1 to 24 predictions, but other things came up and we just didn't do it in the end.
Busy, weren't we?
Yeah, very busy. But it's an opportunity now to get your top 6 predictions. And then also just maybe mention some other clubs you think could be interesting in terms of their league position, maybe even relegation. You never know. So take it away, Mark. Who you put in your top 6 and any other teams you want to look at? Because
where do you want me to, do I go 6 to 1 or 1 to 6? Where do you want me to? Do you want to build it up?
Yes, build it up. Yeah.
Okay. So in 6th position, I've got Barnsley. I think they've gone for a bit of a rebuild. Michael Duff's a good manager. Obviously did a good job at Cheltenham, but losing their 2-star strikers, and we all know who's going to be leading the line for them, probably for the majority of the season, unless they get someone else in. It's Mr. Norwood. So I think it might be a slow burn, but I think they'll gradually get there, and I think they might just sneak in at the end. You know, not a great year for them last season, probably one to forget, to be honest, but there's still elements of that team that finished in the playoffs in the Championship the previous season. So there's still hope from there. 5th place, I've got MK Dons. I think again a big rebuild going on there. It's going to be really hard to replace Scott Twine, but I think Liam Manning, once again, really good young up and coming manager, and I think they made some good signings. Just going to take a little bit of time for them to get up and running. 4th place, I've got ourselves, Ipswich Town. Again, I think maybe some better sides above us, and I think we may just need to go on a run, which we haven't seen a McKenna team do too often. Obviously, it started very well, but when the big fixtures come in, I think we'll need to do that. And I think it'll be a consistent spell in the playoffs, but maybe not really pushing towards the automatics. It might be wrong. I'd love to be proved wrong, obviously. So please do that, Kieran McKenna. 3rd place got Peterborough. I think they know League One like the back of their hands, always usually in the top 8, if not in the top 2. You can't really stop Johnson Clark-Harris at this level, to be honest. Not the best striker at the Championship level, but he's a League One goal machine. And if you've got him fit and firing, which he already is, 2 goals already, they're going to be laughing, really. So the top 2, everyone's favourites for the title is Sheffield Wednesday, and I've got them in 2nd place. Very good squad, recruited very well, mostly from Rotherham. But I don't think Darren Moore will be the man who gets them there. I think Darren Moore will be an early casualty, and I don't know why. I just kind of thought in my head as we've been talking in the green room before going live, I've got a feeling Lee Bowyer might take over there, and I think he might be the manager who gets them over the line. But I mean, if that comes true, I might become a bookmaker. But yeah, but to win League One, it's the only team we faced this season. I've gone for Bolton Wanderers. I think I broke it down on Twitter the other day. Since they beat us in late January, they were the highest point scorers for the rest of last season, being the highest scorers and having the 4th best defence in that time. They beat Sunderland 6-0 in that time as well. And I think they've kept a very settled squad. We saw what they can do on Saturday. They stifled us very well. And I think Ian Everett's going to be right. They've probably been one of very few teams to get points down here. And I think it's going to be probably just them and maybe another couple of teams. And those teams are going to hopefully be the teams above us, not the teams below us. So yeah, Bolton Wanderers, who would have thunk it? League One champions for me. Interesting teams. Bristol Rovers, I think that could go either really well or absolute disaster with Joey Barton. There's a lot of hype around Shrewsbury, but I think people forget that Steve Cottrell's the manager, and he is not a very good manager in my eyes. Obviously good at Bristol City back in the day, but I think his best days are behind him. Who else could I pick out? think they'll do. We'll stick with them two: Bristol Rovers and Shrewsbury. So I'll leave the others for Harvey and Lewis. Liam. Don't know who Lewis is.
Hello, Lewis. Hello, how you doing?
Yeah.
Well, then, Harvey,
Get
you've
my hat.
heard what? Yeah,
I'll get my hat
definitely.
and coat. Oh,
Yeah. But Harvey, you've heard what Mark's had to say. The 6-1. What are you gone for? Are you similar, or have you chucked in another team?
I'm slightly different. A few similar names in there, but in different-ish positions. I think I'll start with the two teams that I think will have I'll do it slightly differently. There's two teams that I think will have a shout of the playoffs, and again, my take is probably completely wrong, but this is what I think will happen. I think Pompey will be up there. I think they've made some good signings. Colby Bishop is a player that I've liked for years now. Every time I've had the pleasure of going to Accrington, he's been outstanding. Regularly gets probably 12 to 15 goals a season. And he's just got a bit of everything. And I know he was quite heavily linked with us last summer, wasn't he, with Cook? And that's one I really wanted to happen at the time. So he's a really good signing. There's a certain Joe Pigott there who I think will do all right, especially in the front two. I noticed that Cowley played 4-4-2 on Saturday. So if them two play up front, I think he'll do well.
It's Harry Kane, isn't he? That's what he said the other day.
So, yeah. He's got the number 10, hasn't he? So
yeah,
nice bit of man management there from Danny Cowley. And they've brought in the lad Dane Scarlett, haven't they, from Spurs, who is a really seriously good talent. So I think they'll have a good season. They won't play the best football. They're not going to play teams off the park, but Cowley is good at what he does. And it's not quite as long ball as people make out, but it's not the best football. But Pompey and my other one at Barnsley. I think the turnover in players I've seen today as well, that they're going to lose their captain, I think, to a foreign team. So I think they might just miss out, but possibly the season after, next season, they might make it in the playoffs. Because I agree with Mark. I really, really like Michael Duff. I mean, the job he did at Cheltenham was unbelievable, really. It was absolutely phenomenal, the job he did. So they're my two outside bets. Top six in reverse order again, similar to Mark. Sixth, I've gone for Derby County. Slight issue with them burning out towards Christmas possibly and the new year with lots of fixtures, and they have got aging players, but I think they've got a lot of quality. So I've gone for Derby in sixth. Bolton, I've gone in fifth. In fourth, who haven't been mentioned yet, I've gone for Wycombe. And the reason I say that is just because Gareth Ainsworth is just brilliant at doing Gareth Ainsworth things. And similar to Danny Cowley, the football's pretty abysmal at Wycombe, let's be honest. But every season they're up there. They've still got Sam Vokes who will do a job in League One. I think he scored 15, 16 last season. They're not recruited brilliantly, but he just gets the best out of the team every single year. So I think he'll get them into fourth place. Third, I've gone for Peterborough. Again, similar to what Mark said, their recruitment last year was diabolical, but their recruitment when they're in League One is usually absolutely bang on. I know they've just lost Schmodek somewhere to Blackburn, but they've got players like Poku, and I'm sure they'll recruit someone else in that area as well to have a good season. Obviously, Clark Harris, who will get the Golden Boot. I've got no doubt about that. Second place, I have gone for Ipswich. Am I convinced we'll finish second? Not 100%, but I've backed us. I was really impressed with us on Saturday, second half. So another striker in the building, and there's no doubt we'll win more games than we lose this season, 100%. And if we can average similar to last season, 2 points a game, that's promotion winning. That's top two, isn't it, essentially? So I think we'll be up there. And Sheffield Wednesday, I've gone for first place. I'm actually differing opinions to Mark on this one. I like Darren Moore a lot. I think he's a good manager. He's not spent anything at Sheffield Wednesday. They've been under embargo for a few years, so he's been living on free transfers for the last year or so, and I think he's done a good job. The likes of Josh Windass is fully fit now. He's going to be different class in this league if he can stay fit. They've obviously got Michael Smith. They brought in the centre back as well, and I think they're possibly close to agreeing a fee for Wilkes. I think I saw today, which should be a brilliant signing. So I think they've just got a squad that's far too good for this league. I mean, Barry Bannon to me slightly edges it over Morsey, and that's a big compliment to Bannon, because I think he's just unbelievable. So yeah, they've got the players to get out of this league. Not convinced about Stockdale, but yeah, they'll do really well. So that's my top 6: Sheffield Wednesday, Ipswich, Peterborough, Wycombe, Bolton, and Derby.
Okay, I'm liking this. Different teams, different debates, different opinions. It's always good to hear. Definitely when it comes to League One predictions and all that sort of stuff. Liam, are you going to have something different for us, or are you gone the same sort of road as these guys, or what are you gone for?
I think League One, trying to predict who's going to be in that top 6 is a fool's game. There's so many teams that could be in there. I mean, listening to Mark's, I completely forgot about Derby. And then Harvey mentions them, and I'm like, oh, shit, yeah, Derby. So, I mean, one team that no one's mentioned, who I think will be there and thereabouts again, is Plymouth. Because I think they've kept the majority of that squad together, and they've added some decent players. I saw the goal that they scored against Barnsley at the weekend by, is it Azaz?
Yeah.
Really quality finish that, and I think he's been touted as being going to be a bit of a star in League One this season. So I think they're going to be in and around it. MK Dons is an interesting one, because I just think it's with the team and how it's basically us last season, the gel word, and how long it'll take for them to gel before they start picking up things, because they've had quite a bit of upheaval this summer. So not quite sure about them. Barnsley, it's quite interesting people talking about Barnsley, and Harvey saying that he thinks they might miss out. It's interesting the fact that they only won 2 away matches in the whole entire championship season last season, and then start off away in League One at Plymouth and lose. So, I mean, it could be that if they still have those issues on the road, they are probably going to miss out. And again, they're in a bit of transition. Michael Duff's gone in. It's going to take a little bit of time for them to kind of find their feet, especially the fact that they've had a few managers now in foreign managers over in the last few years. So to revert back to an English manager with a different way of playing might take them a little while. But I mean, I think we'll finish second. I think that's one nailed on, but I would be happy to say I think we'll finish second. I think we'll make the top 2. I don't know if we'll win it, though. I think Wednesday will win it, but I think that's more because of their formidable record at Hillsborough than anything else, because having seen the highlights on Saturday, defensively from crosses, they still look very susceptible to that. And I know Pompey are the sort of team with the strikers they've brought in are going to be dangerous from crosses, but they didn't defend that very well. And I think on the road last season was the big reason why Wednesday weren't closer to the top 2. They lost a lot of points on the road. But I think that they've got strength in depth throughout that squad. And when it all comes together, I think they will be the strongest team. So I think they will be the champions. The 4 teams in the playoffs, though, it's so difficult. I think Derby might sneak in there. Peterborough will definitely be in there. As Harvey said, Clark Harris is probably a shoo-in for the Golden Boot. He's already scored 2 on the opening day. So he's off. So that's probably 2. And then it's just a difficult one. I think Bolton will get in there. Where they'll finish in that 3rd to 6th, I don't know. But I think they will be one of the teams in the playoffs. And then it's a number of teams that could sneak into into that last playoff. As I say, Plymouth will be there. I think MK Dons might get a groove going once they're sorted. I haven't even mentioned Wickham, and I think they will do their usual. It's Ainsworth. It's interesting what everyone said about Ainsworth. I think it's just that Wickham and Ainsworth is just a match made in heaven for each other. They just seem to click, and he knows how to get that club going. And the way that they play, we know, is not exactly attractive, but it does a job, and they were one game away from being promoted, so they're going to be in there. So there's a number of teams. It's a really, really difficult league to call, I think. As in a dark horse. I mean, I was going to say Shrewsbury, but by all accounts, their game against Morecambe at the weekend was pretty drab. And wasn't particularly brilliant. So, I mean, all the hype around them this summer and the impressive signings didn't really get off to a particularly fast start. So, but I mean, it's opening day, so it's difficult. Too many teams to call, I think. I'm going to be a wuss and not predict exactly 1 to 6, but I think those 5 that I've said will definitely, I think, will be the top 5 in whatever order it'll be.
Okay, then, yeah, League One is going to be exciting. A roller coaster of a season. I'm looking forward to it. Now, boys, we've got our first away trip this weekend, the Forest Green Rovers. But before we get into predictions on that, we've got a nice an-hour show today. Hope everyone's enjoying. Mark, favourite and worst away days? With I'm sure you've travelled around the country, ticking off all the different grounds. You can start wherever. Your favourite, your worst. Could Forest Green be your next favourite or your next worst? Hopefully not. But what's been your favourite and worst away days?
There's been many a drab away day. I think when I first started, it was, the downhill slope of Mick McCarthy, where it would be like, we'll take a point here. If we go 1-0 down, damage limitation, let Bart do his thing and save a load of things. That was about it for them. So there's quite a few to pick from there. On the pitch, I'd say the 0-0 at Wimbledon under Lambert, where it literally, I've never wasted 90 minutes of my life watching a game of football. Like, it just killed our season off. Like, we had that faint hope of clinging on to I don't know if we were just off the top at that point and hovering in the playoffs or just slipped out, and it's just absolute drab. We were wearing yellow socks as well, which is a bloody kit crime. But probably worst in terms of overall experience. It's no disrespect to whoever organised the coach, but coming back from Morecambe, I've always been careful to mock people who break down on the motorway. But we had a tyre blowout. Obviously, it was 1-1, a long day, and you're coming home. You just want to get home, especially somewhere as long, getting all the way from Morecambe to Ipswich, and you have a tyre blowout just outside of Manchester. It's going to take 2 hours to fix. It's just, that wasn't fun. Best one, I'd probably say Pompey was very good last year, because that came out of absolutely nowhere. We just drew 2-2 with Cambridge. Everyone's a little bit down, questioning the team really at that stage, and probably rightly slow with the benefit of hindsight. But at the time, that result came out of absolutely nowhere, and to smash them 4-1 at somewhere as formidable as Fratton Park was really enjoyable as well. I'd also pick Tranmere away. Really good day that was. Again, good overall day, and the way we came back to win that game and the scenes at the end, it was just a great game. It's kind of probably those two. Tranmere and Portsmouth probably up there the best. Morecambe for the journey home, and Wimbledon for the game. So there's a few in there.
Indeed, that's what I'm looking for as well. Just, definitely, it's not just about the performance of the game, it's the whole day itself. So, Harvey, what has been your favourite away day because of the day? If the result was a win, happy days. But also the worst, once again, just the day itself and all that jazz.
I'll start with the worst. The one that pops in my head. I've gone slightly more retro. I can't remember the exact year, but I think it was 2017. Me and my mate were in Union Preston at the time and went to Rotherham away, where a certain Tom Adeyemi scored in I think it was the 88th minute to make it 1-0. And I'm pretty sure that Rotherham hadn't won a single home match all season. And I'm sure this is April or March, April time, something like that. And yeah, I mean, we were on our way back to the car and Rotherham fans were looking at us and saying, why have you travelled all this way? Thankfully, we'd only travelled from Preston, which isn't too far from Rotherham. But that was a depressing day. I mean, it was a woeful performance. And Tom Adeyemi, of all people, to score, God knows where he's at now. Is he retired? Possibly. But yeah, that was a dreadful away day and a thoroughly depressing journey back, being mocked by Rotherham fans on the way to the car. One of the best away days I've been to, with the night out the night before, a uni night out, which was belting. Woke up that morning, nearly missed the training because I was so hungover. But it was Blackpool away, and it was the 3-2 where Stephen Hunt gave the Blackpool chairman a bit when he scored, and I think it was they'd scored to make it 2-1. I think we'd equalised to make it 2-2 with Paul Taylor, and then was it Frank Newblay possibly who got the third maybe? I mean, the scenes in the away end were absolute carnage that day. It was a really, really good day actually. And just thinking about just worst away days, it's gone back to Blackpool again in my head, thinking just before lockdown 2 years ago, whatever it was now, that 2-0 defeat to Blackpool was just shocking. I mean, not only was Thomas Holy doing Thomas Holy things and coming out for crosses and not collecting them, the weather, I've never in my life
it down, didn't it?
cold. Oh my God, it was honestly, I thought I was going to pass out. It was that cold. Walking back to the car, I was getting like crisp packets blowing in my face from the beach or whatever. And you're driving back and you're thinking like, why do we put ourselves through this? I don't know. But yeah, there's been a few. There's been a few for both. But if I was to go for the worst, maybe I'd go. I'm going to go Blackpool. Blackpool away worst, but Blackpool away best as well. So the best of both worlds.
I've just thought of another one. Charlton from last season away. Oh my God. That was
I was going to say that. Didn't that?
Sorry, Liam.
You can expand on Liam. A lot of people know how bad it was, but hopefully we can revenge.
Good for Bloomers. Bloomers run. That's the best. That's the best thing that came out of that game.
Was it as bad as it looked?
Yes, it was awful.
It was bad. It was very bad.
Yeah, it looked dreadful.
Yeah, hopefully we won't have that scene this season, but you never know. Liam, best and worst away days. Now, you're of course a newbie of away days the last few years, but we've travelled around the country already, mate. We've been to Sunderland, we've been to Plymouth. But what has been your favourite and worst away days so far?
Well, it's like what you said when you were talking to Mark at the very beginning and saying it's more about not just about the performance on the pitch, it's the whole kind of day. And I mean, I was going to say Accrington last season when we lost 2-1, but then it was a really good weekend because we stayed at Big John Watson's house and that was a really good weekend. So I don't really want to say it was a bad away trip because just the result was crap. But it has to be Charlton, just because the game was dire, the atmosphere was toxic, the players had put in absolutely no effort whatsoever or looked completely lost, to be honest, of what was going on. Obviously, Cook had just been sacked at the weekend. It was just a complete shambles. And Charlton were value for that win and could have been more, to be honest. It could have been absolutely embarrassing. And then obviously all the scenes at the end with Toto, probably his final kind of thing he ever did with Town, is an altercation with the fans at the end. But yeah, Bloomer's rant was the highlight of that. It was that kind of gave you a little bit more of a bit of a laugh out of a really bad situation. But I haven't got that many, you see, to sample, having not been to that many away games, as I've only been a season ticket holder a few seasons. But that's probably the worst. Harvey did mention Blackpool just before COVID. It was actually 2-1, not 2-0, but it was wet. It was wet. It was wet and horrible.
I've tried to erase it from my memory as quickly as possible, in all honesty. Again,
well,
that night was only known the night out after.
The thing that reminds me of it is Sears was through on goal to win the game in the last minute, misses, and then they go at the other end and score with pretty much the last kick of the game. It was just, and then me and Ross went back down the M6, and instead of needing a car, we needed like a dinghy because the road was just absolutely sodden. It was that wet as we left the ground. And yet,
how did Holy not get that cross just quickly? How did he not collect that? I still to this day, I don't know how a 6'9" goalkeeper could not collect that cross. It was just bizarre. Sorry, Liam, carry on. I have to get that in there.
That's all right. I've got the same issues for someone who is that tall. But best away days, I mean, obviously Sunderland last year has to be up there, even though we lost, just for the fun time in Newcastle, and Bloomers and Paul ending up getting back to our Airbnb at like 6 a.m. because they didn't realise that buses run nearly all night, and so walked from the centre of Newcastle back to Gateshead, where we were in the pouring rain. But that was really good. But for me, on total euphoria of the game, the best away day for me so far was Oxford with that goal by Celina. That goal, the limbs in that end are something that I have not experienced for a long time. I mean, it was just everyone was all over the place. I must have been about 2 or 3 rows away from where I was actually supposed to be at the end of all that. It was just nuts. And obviously, again, we didn't end up winning, but I mean, just that euphoria of the goal when we thought it was all going to be great was just a fantastic feeling, which I hope to feel again this season. So yeah, that's pretty much what I would sum up so far.
Yeah, so far, and yeah, we're travelling to Forest Green for the first time in our history. We're going to be going to many different grounds again this year, hopefully many more great away days. All right then, boys, we're going to wrap up the podcast very quickly here, but predictions as always. Mark, taking on Forest Green for the first time in history, their first season in League One. They won on the opening day against Bristol Rovers 2-1, and then scored in the 89th minute to get all 3 points. But what's your prediction for this weekend?
Probably a tougher game than we're anticipating. Like you said, it's their first game at home in League One. Bumper crowd as it can be for, what was it, 500, 5,100, whatever it was. They'll be well up for it. We're going to probably have to weather a little bit of an early storm there, but we should have the quality to get through. You'd like to hope anyway. I'm kind of looking forward to it. It's a little bit depressing having to go to these sorts of places. No disrespect to them, but I think they'll feel when they come to Portman Road, they'll kind of understand why it's a bit strange for us to go to a smaller club like themselves. But they're here on merit. We're in the same league. We can't really argue. And I think a lesson to be learned from last season is I think we only took 4 points from the promoted sides from the league below. So something that definitely needs to change. Oh, yeah, I don't think we did we? Yeah.
4 draws. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's something definitely we need to work on. As much as we need to be up the teams we expect to be around, we need to polish off the so-called minnows in the division as well. So, I'm predicting a 2-1. I think they will score, and that'll be a real good test of our mettle, really, to see sort of a bumper crowd. I don't know how hostile they'll be. Might be some vegan sausage rolls flying about the place when they do score. But yeah, Connor Wickham's. I don't reckon he'll be fit to play. I don't know. Might be wrong. But if he is about, he might get on the score sheet. He didn't score at MK Dons, but yeah, I'll say 2-1. First points, first win on the board for us, and yeah, first win on the road, and hopefully that'll be the first of many.
Yeah, hope so too. Well, Harvey, Forest Green Rovers, Ipswich Town. We've had some of these interesting fixtures in League One. You know, we Morecambe's, the Cheltenhams. I can name a loads, but now Forest Green Rovers. What's your thoughts on this one and your prediction?
Yeah, similar to Mark, I don't think it'll be. I mean, I don't think it'll be easy. There's no easy games in this league, as no teams are going to sit there and have their tummy tickle. Let's be honest. So yeah, it's going to be a tough game. I feel sorry for Forest Green. Really, they've had their whole team dismantled and their manager in the summer. They obviously had Kane Wilson and Nicky Cadden, who are both brilliant players. They both left, and obviously Rob Edwards has gone to Watford as well. So it'll be a tough game. I've gone for 2-0. My prediction. I think we'll go up there and do a job with them. I think we'll have too much quality, to be fair. I can't see them scoring. I know they've got some decent players. They've got Matty Stevens, who was a top scorer last season, but he came from Peterborough, which just says it all. I mean, Peterborough are always signing good strikers, aren't they? So he's a really good player,
injured,
but he's done his ACL. Yeah, he's done his ACL, so he won't be playing. So they're lacking a bit of firepower there. So yeah, I think we'll do a job with them. 2-0. And I'm going to go for a Freddie brace. That's my hot take on a Thursday evening. Freddie Ladapo brace.
Okay,
love it.
Love it indeed. It'd be good to see him getting on a score sheet because, yeah, we won't get into people's comments on him already.
Nope.
Good old Liam from Crewe. What are you going for, my friend? I know you're making the trip down to Gloucestershire this weekend. What are you gone for and your thoughts as a whole?
I echo what everyone else has said. I think we'll win 2-0. I think we'll have enough defensively. I think we're going this whole season. We're going to be hard to beat, but it is just a question of whether we will score enough to win enough games to finish in my lofty second place position or better. But this is a game I think we should look at winning, even though it won't be easy. And we no game in League One is going to be easy. Everyone's going to have their own agenda, whether it's going to be nearer the bottom or whether they're going to be right in the mix for promotion. It's always going to be tough. And Ipswich haven't finished in the playoffs for the last 3 seasons we've been down here. And we're all expecting suddenly us to go do much better on the optimism of the back end of last year with McKenna, but it's still going to be difficult. And this is going to be a very good, I suppose, yardstick to see where Town really are, especially a first challenge away from home. And as Mark said, we didn't win a game against any of the newly promoted sides last year. We lost both to Bolton. We picked up, I think, 1 point.
Cambridge, wasn't it?
Yeah, we got 1 point against Cambridge, lost at home, didn't we? 2 points against Morecambe, 2 draws in that, and then we had that defeat early on at Cheltenham, and then we drew with them in that game where we battered them for 45 minutes, didn't get a goal, and then they held out for 45 minutes and pretty much killed any chance of the playoffs. So these are we've got to start putting these teams to bed and start winning these games, regardless of what stage of the season it's at. But I think we will. I think we'll have enough for them. A 2-0 win, and hopefully that will be us gaining a load of confidence then to go forward with the rest of this month then, where we've got a good chance, I think, of picking up quite a few points before we go into a bit more of a tricky September. So, bring it on.
Yes, bring it on. That is the word to say. Well, it's been one hell of a podcast, boys. Thanks for joining me as ever. And as standard, Mark, any other business before you say your goodbye?
Just like to shout out to the club with getting the I can't remember his name. Is it Jason? I can't pronounce his surname.
No, I don't ask
Ross?
either, but yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that's why I went to Ross. But yeah, it's really nice to see
Definitely.
the club doing right by the people who are putting the money into the club. An absolutely inspirational story. Puts things into perspective, really, that football is just a game, but this is people's who are running towards adversity, putting their lives on the line to help others. It's their money that the players are, representing at the end of the day, and what we all represent when we put our shirts on with the badge on. So, really nice to see. Again, it's another one of those aspects of the club doing right by the fans and the people that invest in it, not only emotionally but financially.
Yeah, well said, my friend. Well, Harvey, any other business?
Echo Mark's thoughts, really. I thought it was a really inspirational story, and it's great to see so many of the players sharing their words and their photos with them as well. So I thought it was brilliant. I wanted to give a quick shout out to the Lionesses as well. I know I'm not an Englishman, but I think they deserve a shout out on a really historic win. I've not got loads of knowledge on women's football, I've got to be honest, but as I said to you, Ross, I want to make it my kind of mission this year to learn more about the women's side of it, especially with Town and that kind of thing. And without wanting to sound incredibly patronising, as I'm sure I'm about to, watching the game, the technical side of it was really, really impressive. Really, really good patterns of play and that kind of thing. It's really, really obvious and clear to see that the FA have put in a lot of investment into women's football in the last few years, and it's brilliant to see. I was kind of glued to it, to be honest with you, which is it was a really good game. I think there was like 88,000 there, which is unbelievable, really. I think women's football has come a long way from where it was. I think there's still a long way to go in terms of stereotypes and all that we are still seeing. But just a shout out to them. I thought it was a really impressive win, and as I said, I'm making it my mission this year. I pride myself on knowing an awful lot about the men's side of the game, of Town and that kind of thing. But I want to kind of put myself out of my comfort zone a little bit this year and learn a bit more on the women's side, because there's some really good teams out there.
Indeed, some good football as well. Liam, you were one of the 87,000 at Wembley on Sunday, but any other business?
Just to echo what Harvey said, it was unreal on Sunday. Brilliant atmosphere at Wembley. Went to a few other games earlier in the tournament as well. Just a brilliant advert for women's football. And I mean, the other thing is that the Lionesses are due to play the world champions, the USA, at Wembley in October, and tickets went on sale for that on Tuesday and were sold out by Wednesday night. So it at the moment, it's on the whole game is hopefully riding a big crest of a wave at the moment, and that everyone associated with women's football, we kind of harness that popularity at the moment after the Lionesses win, and that we can push things on for Ipswich. I hope that means more people turn up to Felixstowe, and from my own point of view, with Needham's women's team, that we're progressing and hopefully see more people down at Bloomfields as well. So hopefully a really exciting season with lots more people backing women's football this season.
Indeed, well said, boys. Well, thanks for joining me, Mark, Harvey, and Liam. It's always a pleasure. I hope everyone's enjoyed listening to another edition of the Fan Social. Of course, the podcast is sponsored by Manscaped. Use the code KOA to get 20% off and free delivery at manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you and all that jazz. Of course, enjoy Forest Green. To everyone who's going, safe trip. You could be listening to this podcast on your way to Forest Green. So hello. If you're on the way to Gloucestershire. Hopefully your trip's been going well so far. You're at the end of the podcast now, so I'm sure you're actually at Forest Green now. But we're going to be bringing you many great content this weekend, from game day to Mike and Andy React, and of course other podcasts coming to your feeds next week.
And the kick-ups, Ross. Don't forget the kick-ups.
That's only home games, mate.
Oh, right. Okay. Fair enough.
Games,
Fair
yeah.
enough.
I need to make sure I can't find a ball and nick a ball in someone's fan zone at away end. At home games, it's fine. Like I know people that I can just take the ball off, but away from home,
I'll take a detour to JD Sports or something next time I come to an away day, and I'll have to do that.
Definitely, mate. Sounds good. Sounds good. But no, it's been another great podcast. Hope everyone's enjoyed. Of course, subscribe to Kings of Anglia. Follow us on all the socials, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and of course, as I said, subscribe to us on YouTube. There we go. I'm going to go goodbye because I can't speak. See you later, everybody. Thanks again for listening and watching.